fans, and welcome to a Who Universe news here with obviously a new Doctor Who news video from the Who Universe. First things first, we need to acknowledge the fact that we now have the time slots announced for Doctor Who, and I'm pleased to confirm to you guys. Particularly for BBC One, they are going to be airing the first two episodes of season 1 of Doctor Who, which means that from 6:20 they will be showing Space Babies, and then at 7:05 they'll be showing the Beatles episode The Devil's Core. These two episodes going out before Eurovision on Saturday the 11th of May. You're getting double Ncuti Gatwa before Eurovision, and on top of that, on BBC Three you're getting two lots of Doctor Who Unleashed from 8 o'clock. One for Space Babies, one for Devil's Core, which are the first two episodes of Doctor Who Unleashed from 8 o'clock and 8:30 p.m. respectively on Saturday, the 11th of May. Now, of course, you're probably wondering what the synopsis is for these episodes. Well, we're going to start things off with Space Babies, and we actually have a new image here of the Doctor and Ruby from that episode, which is taken, I believe it's taken from the recent Doctor Who magazine. This image is from. So without further ado, we have a synopsis that says this. And by the way, this episode is going to be 46 minutes in length when it goes out on Saturday the 11th. So we have the following. Ruby learns the Doctor's amazing secret when he takes her to the far future. There they find a baby farm run by babies, but can they be saved from the terrifying bogeyman? So yes, it's pretty much official. The bogeyman enemy that we've been hearing rumbles about is going to be in the Space Babies episode. And in fact, he's being played, the bogeyman's being played by Robert Strange, who's just so happens to be the actor who's going to be inside the costume of the bogeyman, which is really cool. They've also got voice actors for some of the characters, which makes me think these are the voice actors for the baby characters that we're going to be seeing in the story. Obviously, I won't give away the names because obviously we don't want to make sure that people can enjoy the episode. But yeah, just thought I'd mention that there's a couple of voice actors for some of the characters that might be related to the babies in particular. Also, Carol Sunday and Cherry Sunday will also be returning in this episode as well. Obviously, as you would suspect, Ruby's foster parents will be returning in the story, so you can definitely expect them to make a return. Like I said, you can expect them to return the first episode. Now, of course, we come to Devil's Core, which is the second episode, airing at 7:05. It's going to be nearly 50 minutes in length, and this is the description we've got. The Doctor and Ruby meet the Beatles, discover that an all-powerful Master is changing history. London is becoming a battleground for the future of humanity at stake. As well as the synopsis, there are a couple of things that I thought will, like I said, there's a couple of interesting things that are coming out regarding the actual details, and that is that they've actually cast Cilla Black in Devil's Core, which is written by who's going to be played by Josie Sinwick Davis. Now, I don't know if it's related to Russell T Davis, probably not related to him, but you never know. But yeah, she's going to be playing Cilla Black, which is very interesting. Russell's going to be paying homage to Cilla Black in this story. I don't think there was ever mentions of her meeting the Beatles or actually interviewing them in her own show, but maybe I'm wrong. There was a meeting between the two parties, but I just thought it's really interesting. Cilla Black was mentioned on the cast members, and then also Susan Twist is mentioned, playing the tea lady, which makes me wonder, this is the beginning of her plot line regarding her going backwards and forwards in time, which is really interesting. On top of that, we also found out Murray Gold is going to be appearing in this story. Yeah, for the first time ever, the composer for Doctor Who is going to be appearing in the episode, which is really interesting, along with Strictly stars Shirley Bassey and Johannes, who we've just found out will be featured in the Devil's Core story. So we will be seeing the head judge, Shirley Bassey, and dancer Johannes from Strictly making their way into this episode. So definitely expect them to be there in the Devil's Core next weekend, which is really exciting. They've also hired a studio producer played by Chan Storgo, who I believe is going to be the producer for the Beatles in particular, probably just for their performances in particular, which is going to be nice. So that would be pretty. But yeah, so that is some interesting stuff from the cast list for the Devil's Core that will air at 7:05 next Saturday, along with Space Babies, giving us double Doctor Who next weekend. And yes, Doctor Who will most likely be the cover of the Radio Times on Tuesday. So fingers crossed we'll get a cover reveal on Monday. Fingers crossed. So yes, so that is the information we've got regarding the episodes that we're going to be seeing next Saturday. Now, in terms of the Doctor Who Unleashed episodes we're going to be seeing next weekend, the only things we can gather for Doctor Who Unleashed is that Stefan Palo is going to be chatting, is going to be looking at the wizardry involved in the Space Babies, which I believe he's going to be he's going to be having an exclusive interview with the Bogeyman, played by Robert Strange. So expect Robert Strange to be interviewed in the first Doctor Who Unleashed Space Babies episode on next Saturday. And then the Devil's Core episode, he does say he's going to travel back in time to chat with the Beatles Doctor Who style. So I would imagine he's referring to the actors who are playing the Beatles in the story, who he's going to be chatting to. Doctor Who Unleashed, the Devil's Core episode that will follow the Space Babies episode at 8:30 next Saturday. If you want to see the actors who are playing the Beatles in Doctor Who. And he's also going to be chatting to Jackson Mooson, who's going to be playing Mastro, this new powerful enemy that the Doctor's going to be facing in the Devil's Core. So we'll be hearing from both stars next weekend in Doctor Who Unleashed, which is going to be really... So yeah, so I thought I would mention about that. And of course, by the way, BBC Three will be repeating the Doctor Who episodes the following night. They're going to be airing them at 7 and 7:45. If you happen to miss the episodes on BBC One, don't worry, BBC Three will be repeating them the following night from 7 p.m. and 7:45 respectively. Space Babies and Devil's Core on BBC Three, and they're also going to be doing repeats on BBC 2 on the Friday the 17th at a very early time in the mornings that evening. If you just so happen to be awake that time, then you'll be able to watch it, but you can always rely on BBC iPlayer if you happen to miss the episode anyway. So yes, so that's the schedules for Doctor Who's first weekend back on Saturday the 11th and Sunday the 12th for BBC Three, of course, how they're going to be scheduling Doctor Who to open up the new series. They're giving us both episodes to kick off, just like they're going to do with BBC iPlayer on Saturday the 11th, which is really exciting. So obviously we've got all of that to look forward to with Doctor Who. Now, on top of that, we did get some words from Russell T Davies about made him come up with the idea of Space Babies. This is basically a comment that's come from the latest Doctor Who magazine that's on sale, where he says the following: a new show needs a big hook. I thought of babies on my first day at Bad Wolf Studios, where Doctor Who is made. There must have been something on TV the night before about baby farms or something, sparking this idea that made me laugh about baby farm runs by actual babies. The episode isn't all about Space Babies. There are often three things going on in any Doctor Who. There's a bit like a plate spinning, keeping it all in motion. This has got Space Babies and a monster. It's a sci-fi story with mysteries and suspense. It also is a personal story for Ruby, finding out who she is and where she's from, and which will be the span of this series. We have seen she has had a very happy family with a wonderful adoptive mum, but feels urged to find out the truth about her past. That's a great story for any drama, and I don't often give a companion so strong a story. So it all heads somewhere. You just wait. So yeah, Russell teasing there that there's going to be a lot of things coming up about Ruby Sunday, which might be worth keeping an eye on over the coming weeks. But yeah, it's just some very interesting details to keep in mind as we watch the series, because it looks like we're going to be learning a lot about Ruby's past in this upcoming series. Now, as well as that, you may have heard the news, Ncuti Gatwa, the 15th Doctor, is going to have his own display as the 15th Doctor in Madame Two Swords this summer. It was announced yesterday, well, announced on May 1st, that the 50th Doctor will be joining the Out of This World lineup this summer, where they say the Baker Street attraction has released behind-the-scenes imagery of Ncuti Gatwa working closely with his highly skilled artist to capture his perfect likeness for the upcoming figure of the 15th Doctor, which, by the way, will be arriving in Madame Two Swords in London in July this year. So this is going to be straight after the series is finished. They're going to be rolling this out, and they're going to be putting the display out in Madame Two Swords. And of course, they mentioned about Madame Two Swords London has a rich history with Doctor Who, from appearing in season 7's Spearhead from Space serial in 1970 to creating figures of the Doctor, beginning with the 4th Doctor played by Tom Baker in 1980. This upcoming figure of the 50th Doctor is the first to be announced for the attraction's brand new film and TV film themed zone, which will feature fellow screen icons such as James Bond and E.T., which is going to be opening this summer, aka July, where they also caught up with Ncuti about this, and he says, "I'm very excited to be joining the iconic lineup at Madame Two Swords. The process was amazing to witness. I can't wait to see the final results." And then they also go on to say, most details about the new Doctor Who figure remains under wraps, and Madame Two Swords expert artists working their magic. The world's famous attraction has confirmed the figure will appear in a specially created Whoniverse themed set, which I cannot wait to see this. Like, oh my, a Whoniverse themed set. I have a good feeling there's going to be a lot of Doctor Who stuff featured in there this summer, and I can't wait. I really hope I get the chance to see it. Due to be unveiled this July after the final episode of the series, fans will be able to continue their adventures through time and space and meet the 15th Doctor along with the famous TARDIS. That is obviously really exciting stuff, that Ncuti Gatwa's 15th Doctor is going to get displayed Madame Two Swords this July, and it's going to be standing next to the likes of James Bond, E.T., and there's going to be an entire Whoniverse theme set being made for Ncuti Gatwa's 15th Doctor as he arrives to Madame Two Swords this July. Can't wait to see the final results, and I hope I get the chance to see it in person at some point, because it definitely sounds very exciting to see that Ncuti's getting his own display at Madame Two Swords in London, which is amazing. So yeah, that's some exciting stuff from Ncuti Gatwa. We can all look forward to when the series finishes this July, where they're going to be hyping up the display in London, which is going to be really cool. But I thought I would mention that, considering for those who may have not known about it. As well as that, there's a couple of lost stories that Big Finish are sort of adapting to audio drama. The first one's going to be called Death World, and essentially Death World is actually an episode that would have been the 10th anniversary story, which would eventually be, and this was the story that they eventually changed to become the 3 Doctors eventually, but it's written by Bob Baker and David Martin, who are the guys who originally wrote the story or the script that never got to see the light of day, but it's going to be adapted to Big Finish, and it's going to be coming out later this year. You'll be able to get your hands on it if you want to hear what would have been the original, what would have been the 10th anniversary of Doctor Who, which is going to be very, very cool that they're doing that now, which is really, really nice. So if you want to get your hands on that, then be sure to go to the Big Finish website if you haven't seen that, if you haven't checked it out already. Yeah, they're basically making that available for people to check out, which is really really cool to pre-order, and it's going to be coming out in July. And then they're also going to have another lost story called Operation Werewolf, which based on another script that came out in the 70s. In fact, it was basically another script that they tried to submit in the 70s, and then it basically just cancelled or just got replaced by something else. And they're doing this based around the 6th Doctor. Colin Baker is what this story is going to be based around. So if you want to, and I believe it's all a part of this box set that they're going to be releasing. So this will be the second release that's based on a 1967 script that's going to feature the 6th Doctor as the main star. Well, actually, it's interesting because it has the 7th Doctor in the background, but it says that this is going to feature the 2nd Doctor, Jamie and Zoe. So there's obviously going to be features of them in this story as well, even though the cover has the Sixth Doctor in the cover, so it's really interesting. There might be two Doctors involved in this storyline potentially, but we'll see how it all goes when it goes out on Big Finish later this year. As well as that, there's a new Companions book called Companions 60 Years of Doctor Who Assistance, where they're looking back at 60 years of all the different companions that Doctor Who has had, all the way up to Ruby Sunday, who is the latest one. So if you want to learn about all the different companions who have appeared in Doctor Who, then you can pick this book up, where they're giving you a chance to sort of look back at 60 years of different companions who the Doctor has met, even companions that have featured in audio dramas are acknowledged in this book as well, which is really good. So they're acknowledging a lot of companions through TV, audio, comic, novels, you name it, they're all in this book. So they're going to pay homage to a lot of companions in this book that's come out from Candy Jar Store, who are going to be the ones selling this book for those who want to get your hands on it. As well as that, we just found out there's going to be a paperback for the Church on Ruby Road that's going to be getting a release on Amazon starting on the 2nd of Jan 2025. Those who want to get this paperback that they're going to be releasing for the story. And then on top of that, there's going to be some new WN Doctor Who N books. There's going to be a series of books. There'll be 3 of them that are going to be coming out later this year. And in fact, the first one comes out on the 8th of August. They haven't said what to expect from this one yet, so we don't know what this is going to be entitled, but at least this is going to be one of the books that you can look out for on the 8th of August if you want to be ready for these books. And I think the second book will be out that day as well. Yes, I think they're all out on the 8th of August if you want to get your hands on these new pre-order these new paperbacks that they're going to be releasing on the 8th of August as some new Doctor Who books that are going to be arriving around the same time as the season 1 Doctor Who DVD, Blu-ray and Steelbook gets its official release in the DVD stores and etc. So so that's going to be another thing you can look forward to in terms of books for Doctor Who this year. They'll be releasing those soon. But apart from that, I think that's the majority of all the news really for Doctor Who. But or actually, if we also include they're also acknowledging the Devil's Course, saying it contains. Obviously, they're talking about the cast list containing the twist. There's also a new video interview, which I'll leave a link in the description, where they're talking about comedy, horror, and heartbreak regarding the series, which you can see that in the link in the description. Also, Ncuti Gatwa is going to be cast into Oscar Wilder this winter in the theatres in London. This will be a show that he's going to be doing with Hugh Skinners and Sharon D. Clark. He's going to be involved in The Importance of Being Earnest theatre production that's going to be going out this winter. Ncuti Gatwa is going to be featured a part of that, so you can check that out in London if you're planning to go there to see Ncuti in theatre, and that's something you can look forward to then. But yes, and we also have this new promotional image that came out as well, showing the Doctor and Ruby. I thought I would share that. We also got another new shot of Devil's Course showing the Doctor and Ruby running in 60s gear, which is really cool. So yeah, it gives us a really nice look at the first 2 episodes, which is nice. And in fact, we might as well take a look at some of the comments because there are some interesting stuff that's mentioned here. So this is Russell T. Davis kicking off the conversation where he says the following. He says, what we've got coming up is a full range of adventures. We've got comedy stories, we've got music, we've got horror, we've got Welsh folk horror. It's a very unusual territory for the show to go in. We've got chases, we've got the end of the world, and sometimes we've got something as simple as the end of a friendship and a broken heart at the center of the stage. So it's got a full-on emotional range. It's got all the epic stuff. If you love that, it's got heart and humanity right at the center of it. So he mentions about the end of a friendship and a broken heart. So I wonder if this is related to the Doctor and Ruby. What do you reckon? Do you reckon the Doctor and Ruby's friendship's going to get ruined in this series? What do you reckon? Is that what's going to happen here? Let me know in the comment section if this is what they're hinting at for the series. But then, of course, they go they go on to talk about Boom, or Shooting Upward talks about Boom, where he says I feel like it's where like stakes are now added to the series, like depth is now there. It's not just fun and games anymore, which is very interesting. He says that, so it could be a very serious tone for Boom. And then they talk about Dots and Bubble, where they say episode 4, oh, the Duffy coat. I had a really nice Duffy coat, and I got the bubble hat as well. Look out for the banging Duffy coat and bobble hat, okay, in episode 4. So looks like Shooting Up was going to have a Duffy coat and a bobble hat in this story, which is going to be cool. And then he talks about Rogue. Billy Gibson does and says it's phenomenal. The amount of layers in that episode, so much happens. I love it so much. You go through so many emotions in that episode. So it kind of sounds like there's going to be a lot of emotions in that story, which is very interesting. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. But nevertheless, a lot of things to consider in the story, which is going to be really cool. So yeah, so there's some information that we found out regarding Doctor Who and beyond, which is really, really exciting. So yeah, I'm very excited to see. So yeah, it's very interesting stuff nevertheless. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Doctor Who and how things are going to go. But with that said, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all when we have more Doctor Who news, including a front cover for the Radio Times and much, much more. I'll see you then.